Well, my name is Bill. This is a project car that I've wanted to build for quite some time. I've had quite a few MGs. This one is a 1967 MGB GT. I bought it almost 3 years ago. It was out parked in the guy's backyard, kind of halfway buried in the mud. That's why there's so much mud on the tires. I have not cleaned anything. I just brought it in and put it up on the lift. I want to do something different with this car. I've always liked the Sebring body kits, you know, with the wider tires and with the fender flares and things. So I am going to be putting a body kit on here, similar to a Sebring body kit. This is not the original color of this car. It was originally a Grampian Gray, which is a pretty rare color. They were only offered on the GTs from 1967, 68, and I believe 69. Along with the Grampian Gray exterior, they came with red interior with black piping. I've only actually seen one car with that color combination. It looked pretty neat. It was years ago when I saw it. And who knows, it might have even been this car, because this is an Oregon car. This car was original Grampian Gray. So I was thinking about painting it blue, but it was originally the gray, and that was another color that was in the back of my mind. So I think I'm going to stay with that color. The only thing that's not original on this car mechanically is the engine and transmission. I looked up the codes on it, on the engine. It's actually out of a 73, which means it's a 5-main motor. 67, they were a 3-main bearing motor. And the transmissions were 3 synchros. So first gear was not synchronized. Where the later transmissions, which I believe this one has, I really haven't checked it that closely. I believe this one's a 4-synchro, but I will be pulling a lot of the suspension off and the engine transmission and bumpers and things that I don't need on this build. Anyway, things that I don't need on this build, I'll be probably selling a swap meet. Let's walk around the car and I'll kind of show you what it looks like. The hood on these this one's aluminum. Pretty much the car is a pretty complete car, just missing a few little things. It has the usual body rust, the rockers, and around the rear wheel wells. I just pulled the one wheel off. You can see remnants of hay or straw or something underneath there. It's like I said, I have not cleaned it at all. The usual rust spots are here, which you can see somebody tried bondoing that up. That's quite common. It's not a hard fix, but you just have to do a lot of metal removal and replacement of the rockers. I've done it a couple times on MGs. It's not too difficult. The interior is pretty much gone. Somebody put carpet on the door panels, which is not correct, but the seat frames are there. They had added quite a few gauges and so forth on the dash, which should not be there. But it does have the original steering wheel. A lot of that, this will all be taken down and cleaned up. I believe, I originally thought this was a primer, but that is actually the original Grampian Gray. Somebody sprayed over this. As you can see, the paint's pretty flaky. It's not too bad. Inside, I don't see any major rust issues inside the car. Mainly just a little bit of surface rust here and there. Batteries on these cars, they originally came with two 6-volt batteries. A lot of people converted them over to 12-volt, and they decided to trim some metal there to fit a single 12-volt battery in that they probably shouldn't have done, but I'll have to correct that. The fuel tank is here. This will all be removed during the build. And this is the car. Well, this whole project has been on my mind for quite a while. These are some drawings that, gosh, I drew back in the early 1980s of a Sebring GT. Here's one I did where I thought, gosh, what would it look like if it had a slant nose like Porsche had? Even had a whale tail on it, air dam, and the flares. I had some other initial drawings, like what if I were to make it myself, you know, flaring out the fenders front and back, with a whale tail, again with a slant nose. I don't know if this is going to show too well on the video, but anyway, those are just some ideas that I had. The body kit that I'm putting on there was by Preform Resources. It's a pretty neat body kit. This is a car that I found online, and it actually sold on Bring a Trailer, I think 2-3 years ago. It's a race car, it's not a street car, but it is V8 powered. I really like the body lines on it. They're very similar to a Sebring, but a little bit different. Anyway, that's the body kit that I'm going to be using that I've ordered. Should be getting. The other thing I like to do when I do these builds is I keep a logbook of what I do daily. You know, I might not fill it out daily, but every couple of days I'll fill out just to keep in mind, you know, I can look back and say, gee, when did I do this or that, or when did I order certain parts. It's all in a little logbook. I've done this on almost all the cars I've done. It's kind of fun to look back and see what you've done. Before I got the car too far apart, actually nothing apart on it, I bought some scales. I wanted to get some idea of what all 4 tires, the weight was on all 4 tires. So this is actually a livestock scale kit you can get online. I got this one through Amazon. You actually just get the 4 corner sensors and a junction box and the actual display unit. This one's battery powered. It does come with a power adapter if you want to plug it in. It's hooked up batteries now. I did make this framework out of 2-inch angle, and it's all welded together, and then the diamond plate aluminum was bolted down onto it. So I can set each tire on here and weigh each corner of the car. When you do that, you do have to allow for I put wood blocks under the other 3 tires I'm not weighing to this height. I think it's just right around 2 inches, 2 1/4 inches. So the car is sitting somewhat level. I don't know if it really matters that much, but I did do that. I noticed online everybody is doing that. So anyway, what I'm doing now is as I'm pulling components off the car, I'll put them on the scale and weigh them. For example, I'm not going to be reusing these wheels, so I kind of like to get an idea of what they weigh, because they are part of the total weight of the car. I did weigh each corner of the car. This is a little diagram I made up, and I did weights on all 4 corners. So Like the left front had 595 pounds, the right front at 576. Left rear was 459, the right rear was 437. So the front weight was 1171, or 1,171 pounds. The rear was 896. And you take the weight of the front divided by the total weight of the car, which was 2,067. It came out 56.65% in the front. And I did the same calculation in the back, 896 divided by 2067, and it's 43.35% in the rear. Now, you have to keep in mind on these weights, this is about 150 pounds less than what the book says, from the specs, from what I've been able to find. But there's no fuel in it, a lot of the interior is missing. The carpet, the panels, the spare tires not there. So it's pretty close. These scales were actually that I used. I'm not sure how accurate they are, but they do seem to be fairly accurate. They're rated, if you look them up on Amazon, they're called livestock scale kits. The unit I bought was 1,000 pounds. They're rated at 1,000 pounds. Each one of the four corners, each one is 330 pounds, so it's actually just over 1,000 pounds. But that's all I'm going to be weighing on each four corner. I'll be pulling the engine transmission out. I'll also weigh that. Everything I've seen on the engine transmission is 360 pounds. We'll see how close it is to that. Anyway, that's what I'm doing with the weights. Now you might be wondering, like, why is he measuring all of these things? I'm going to be making this car electric. That's one of the things I wanted to do in the past, was build an electric car. I just didn't feel that the technology has been there. Now with Tesla, mass producing these cars, everybody's starting to mass produce electric cars. The big hindrance has been batteries. To get enough batteries, especially in a small car like this, has really been an issue. If you did do it, you're looking at 30, 40, 50 mile range, which basically it makes it just a little commuter car. I wanted something that had performance and greater mileage. So I will be installing a Tesla small motor, rear drive motor, in the rear of this car. The front where the battery, where the engine and transmission is now, is basically going to be all batteries in the front. There'll be a few batteries in the back where the gas tank, fuel tank used to be, and the electric motor will be in the rear. And after a lot of looking around, I needed a suspension in the back that I could build a subframe that would bolt up underneath, and it needed to have room in the center for an electric motor. So I know that a lot of guys were converting the doing electric conversions using BMWs. So that's what I decided to do. This is out of an E30 or a Z3 BMW. I did have to narrow it because the track width is different. To get the correct width between the hubs and the back, I actually took 9.5 inches out of the center. I don't have this all permanently welded up yet because I just wanted to be fitting it into the car, which I'll do later after everything's stripped down, because I might have to adjust this a little bit, so I didn't want to permanently weld anything there. I did do, because of the added torque coming out of this motor, I did add some straightening kit These were welded on here, here, and here on both sides, these pieces. I also put the camber and toe in, toe out adjusters on the back. My plan right now, I was originally going to use the shock mounts were here. I was originally going to use coilover in the back. However, they're a little bit large. The electric motor is going to be sitting right in here. I should have enough room for the shock, but I decided to just go with the standard shock, BMW shock in the rear. And I think I'll use adjustable coil springs. There are kits out for guys doing drift cars and things. I will be putting they'll have the coil spring with an adjustable perch here. That way I can adjust the ride height in the back. Anyway, that's kind of what we're doing back there. And we'll cover a lot more of this later. I started taking things apart. I've got a lot of the components off the engine, getting that ready to pull. Here's some of the things here. As I pull some of the major components off, I'm using the scales, I'm weighing them. I just kind of want to get an idea of what weights things, or how much things weigh. For example, the wheels and tires, I found a huge variance. Turns out, because if you look at the tires, there's 3 different brands of tires there. The rear were pretty close. They were at 32.8 and 35.6. The fronts were, 38.8 and 33.6, which is a huge difference, because the wheels are basically all the same, the wire wheels. So anyway, that was interesting. The hood, being aluminum, it weighed just 18 pounds. It would weigh considerably more if it was a steel hood. Radiator, 17.8. Exhaust was 23.4 pounds. Another thing I do, I keep a digital camera handy. I take pictures of everything. When you're doing a restoration like this, take pictures of everything before you take it apart. They're pretty nice to use. I just pull the SD card out, put it in my laptop, and I can save the photos, look through and see what I like and don't like, but it's really good reference. This is the underneath. Let me get some more light on it here. And this is what a 60-some-odd-year-old car looks like. Not too bad. Typical British, they seep oil all over the place. So the rust isn't too bad here on the bottom. It appears to me somebody has replaced the floor pans, but we'll see later on. I might redo them. I don't know. Battery boxes. Those are the factory battery boxes. That isn't something someone added. I did drain the fuel tank yesterday. There's a drain there. There's a little bit of a drip on it. It had about 3 gallons maybe still left in it. And who knows how long that gas was in there. Well, things are progressing. I got the rear axle out. I left the springs and everything on it because it's all gonna not be used. So I just took it all off in basically one piece. And the engine and transmission are also out. And there's Hugo wondering what I'm doing. Kind of had a surprise. I thought the engine weighed less than it weighed in at 480 pounds. I was looking online, and everything I saw online showed these engine transmissions weighing a lot less than that, a lot less than the 480 that I came up with. they must not have had the carburetors and the generator and the starter. But anyway, that should work out nicely. Oh, I'll show you. You can see what's under there. All the rear axle is out. I'm getting ready to pull the front. I'm getting ready to pull the front suspension off. I did take the front springs out before I pulled the engine. It was just easier. You could put a lift underneath the lower A arm there and just raise it slightly. It's just easier with the weight of the engine in there and safer. The springs came out real easy. Did not have to use the spring compressor or anything. And that's what we look like under the hood without an engine. This car is extremely dirty underneath. Just 55 years of grease, oil, road grime, grit. Seems like everything I touch underneath there, stuff falls out on the floor everywhere. So I lost track of how many times I've been sweeping the floor, because you just touch the car with a hammer to tap something apart, and just everything falls down on the ground. So we'll keep progressing here and see where we get. See if we can get that front end off, all the suspension.